So the first thing that we need to talk about is something called violation. So what is violation actually? So violation, it's the threatening that could be launched against your entities or items. And as we said, the entities are URLs, parameter, file types, any positive model entity, where the items are the attack signatures, evasion techniques, RFC compliance, all these called items. Okay, so any threatening that could happen against your entities or items, we call this a violation to your web application. And according to this violation that could happen, we need to set some actions related to this violation. We will speak about each action in its separate video, but for now we need to define the same or the main concepts for ASM module. So according to the violation, you have three main actions you can set for each entity or item. Okay, so each entity, as we said, what is entity? It's the parameter, the URL, the file type, the HTTP header, whatever the entity is, or item, attack signature, HTTP compliance, evasion technique. Okay, so each one of these entities and items contains some violation triggering that we can configure, and we can set some actions related to each violation. Okay, these actions are learn, alarm, and block. So what is the rule of automatic learning here? As we said, we have three main actions that we could set for the violation related to any entity or item. Okay, so the rule of the automatic learning in this phase is simply it can automatically set the action for some types of violation related to the entities or items. And the violations that will be configured for these automatic learning methods are depending on the type of the template. So for example, the fundamental template will enable some actions for specific violations, where for example the comprehensive template will enable, could be all the violations will be enabled for all the entities and items, so it will provide you the most possible protection for your web application through the comprehensive template. Okay, so as we said, the entities violations will be related to file types, URLs, parameter, cookies, headers, and HTTP methods, where the items violation are related to HTTP protocol checks, evasion techniques, attack signatures, CSRF, data guard, and geolocation. So I need to give you an example here, not to make you in a conflict before we continue. So I open application security, then policy building, and then I go to something called learning and blocking settings. Forget about anything here in this panel, just I want to show you what I mean by a violation. So what are the entities and items? These are the entities and items. Okay, like for example, URLs is considered an entity. File type is an entity. Attack signature is an item. Antivirus is an item. CSRF protection is an item. So these are the main entities and items that we have spoken about, where the violation actually are. So if I expanded one of these entities or items, like for example file types, if I click on file types, okay, we have here two main sections. The first thing is something called learn new files types method. What is the method for learning? Forget about it for now. We have here some violations and we have here some actions. These actions that we have talked about, we will see how these actions can serve our request, but these are the violations. Okay, so what is violation? Actually, it's a triggering, it's a threatening to your web application. Like for example, let's take an example. Illegal file type simply means the user uploaded or used the file that's not allowed by your web application. Like for example, if your application supports, for example, GPG, and the user uploads, for example, PNG, so your web application doesn't support the PNG, so it will trigger this violation. So this is called here a violation, and it's triggered here. Okay, so what is the action? The action we will speak about, but this is called the violation for now. You need to know what is violation here. So the violation is the threatening that could happen to your web application. So as we said, if we talk some examples, here we go. For example, with the general settings, we have here some violations. We can explain each violation. Like for example, if we talk this one as an example, illegal HTTP status and response. So HTTP status code that's defined in the policy. Status code means simply the code that will be sent in the response part, like 100, 200, 300. So for example, if your web application supports 200 only. So if the web application sends in the respond 300, that means it's a violation, and I need to trigger this violation. And according to triggering, I will look at actions. What actions should I do according to this violation? Okay, we will speak about action shortly. Let's speak a little bit about the violation rating. So you will see a rating near to each violation that you will see on your log system. This rating can describe the level of this violation. So if it's 0, means there is no violation in this traffic, okay, because it will not appear. So 0 means there is no violation. 1 means it's a false positive. So if it's 2, looks like a false positive. So you need to investigate about this traffic. 3 needs further examination. You need to examine this traffic carefully. 4 means looks like a threat. Keep in mind. 5, it's a threat. You need to take an action according to this violation. So what are the needed actions for each violation? We have some actions, right? The block and alarm and learn. So what are these actions? So the first action here is learn. If I enable this action near to the violation, this means that I will give the administrator a learning suggestion, telling him that there is a learning suggestion that could solve the problem for you, and this violation will not be appeared to you again. For example, if you accepted this suggestion. So again, what is learning suggestion? Learning suggestion is something from the ASM module to the administrator, telling him, hey, there is a violation happened and I have a solution for you. You need to accept me to solve you this violation, and this violation will not be appeared to you again. You can accept this learning suggestion according to your investigation, or you couldn't accept this suggestion and you refuse it. So I don't want to apply your suggestion. So this is called a learning suggestion. So if you enable the learn action next to the violation, this means I will give the administrator a learning suggestion that he can use to solve the problem. Alarm means I will generate a log into the log request. So you will see a log in the requests tab here if you enable alarm. Block means if this violation happens, I will completely block the traffic for the user. Okay, and this needs to put your policy in the blocking mode to enable this action. So if the policy is in transparent mode, you will find this block column here is hidden, and you can set the action to be blocked if you are using transparent mode, or you are putting your enforcement in transparent mode, so you can't use the block action here. And if you are using blocking mode and you enable the block for the violation here, if the violation happens, the traffic will be blocked for your users. Okay, so what are the needed action? As we said, we have alarm generates a log within the request list. Learn generates a learning suggestion on the traffic learning panel. We will see what is the traffic learning panel shortly. Block and policy in the blocking mode. Keep in mind the request causing the violation will be blocked. Okay, so before we apply the needed action for any violation, there is something called staging. So at the first time, if the violation occurs and you set the action to be blocked, for example, and your enforcement mode is in blocking mode and the action is blocked, firstly, your violation will not be blocked, simply because it will be in something called the staging mode for both the attack signatures and also your entities. So why they will not be blocked? For example, if you are putting your policy in blocking mode and the action is blocked for the violation, simply because they are in a readiness period. So during this period, you can collect all the false positives that could happen to your web application, and according to them, you can take your decision. So there is a period before applying all these entities and items according to their proper actions. During this period, these actions will not be applied, simply because I need to collect all the false positives to try to fine-tune my web application and see what's happening. After this period finished, all the actions will be applied. Or you can enforce these entities and items manually. You can go to each entity and each attack signature and enforce it. Enforce it means I will apply this entity or item right now, and I need the action of these entities or items to be applied right now, and without caring for the readiness period or the staging period. Okay, so this is called staging and enforcement. We will see this in action. I know that this is a theoretical stuff. You can't get all the information from this, but I need to tell you the concept firstly before we go to our labs, because there are some terminology that you need to be aware with before we go and start our lab. Direct actions on requests panel. We can take direct actions on this panel without getting back to the learning panel actions. We have two main panels. The first panel is the requests panel. From this panel we can see all the requests, and we have learning panel. From this panel we can accept learning. From the requests panel we have some actions: accept, delete, and export. Accept simply means I will accept the request without caring for the learning suggestion. So I will not go to the learning panel, try to investigate for this learning suggestion, and according to what I will accept or delete or ignore this learning suggestion. No, from the requests panel itself I will accept the suggestion without going back to the learning panel. Okay, delete means I will remove the request from the event log. Export, I will create an HTML page with request and violation. So again, what's the learning suggestion? It describes the entity or item and the violation involved. So it will tell you that there is a violation happened for this learning suggestion, and then you need to solve this, the reason for this violation not to be shown again, and it will give you the solution. So it will tell you that I have a solution for you to solve this violation. What about enabling this solution? After investigation I will see no. If you accepted this violation, this means, for example, it's an attack signature. And the learning suggestion tells you that you need to disable this attack signature. So why to disable this attack signature? No, I will not accept this learning suggestion. I need to be blocked. The learning suggestion tells you that the parameter length is currently 10 bytes and you need to increase it to 20 bytes to enable users to enter more data. So after investigation you see that, okay, it's normal, try to increase it. No problem, so I will accept the suggestion. So this means that you need to look at the learning suggestion to see if it's legal or not. If it's legal, okay, I will accept it. If it's not legal, I will not accept it. We have the manual learning or the manual learning suggestion actions. So as we said before, we have two main panels, the requests panel and we have learning suggestions panel. For the learning suggestion panel, and if you put your learning in manual mode, it means the administrator will be the one who is responsible for accepting all the learning suggestion or ignores the learning suggestions. We have three main actions: the accept suggestions, modifying the security policy components by accepting the offered suggestion; the delete suggestion, removing now but could appear again; ignore suggestion, removing and couldn't appear again. We have here ASM module, and this is our client, and this is our web application. During this lab, we will try to initiate a violation from this device to our web application. This violation will be stored in two main places here on our F5 Big IP ASM. It will be stored in the requests panel and into the learning panel, and we will see how can we deal with these requests or learning suggestions, okay, as we said in this section. So we have, as we said, two main panels. The first one is the requests, and the second one is the learning panel or learning suggestions panel. For this panel, which is requests, we have three main actions: accept, delete, and export. Okay, what is the accept? Accept will accept the suggestion or the learning suggestion without getting back to our learning panel here. So learning panel here, I will accept it directly from here, and I will change my policy components. Accept will accept the suggestion directly from here. The learning panel, we have three main actions. We have accept learning suggestion in case we are speaking about manual learning. So we will accept the learning suggestion. We will delete the learning suggestion. Delete means I will delete it for now, but keep in mind it could appear again to me in this panel. Ignore means ignore this learning suggestion and it will not appear to you again in this tab. So if I open event logs and then go to application and requests, this is how to open the requests panel. So how to open the learning panel, I will go to application security, then policy building, and then traffic learning. Okay, this is the second panel here. called traffic learning. I will also check all my learning here, and then I will click delete to make them empty to receive the new learning suggestions. Then I need to initiate a violation. Before I initiate a violation, I need to open my learning and blocking settings, and I need to make sure that I enable two main actions for my attack signature, simply because the thing that I will initiate right now is an attack signature. Simply I will enter in the parameter field a word called script. Script means it's a cross-site scripting attack, and then it will hit in the attack signature item, which is here. So I need to make sure that I enable for all the violations two main actions, learn and alarm. Alarm will generate a log in the requests tab, and learn, it will generate a learning suggestion for me in the traffic learning panel. Okay, so they are checked here for all the types of violations related to attack signature. So right now I can receive requests in my events tab, and then I will also receive some learning suggestions. Okay, so let's start our lab. I will open my client here, and then I will try to initiate any attack signature to my web application. So normally you can search for anything, but you can search for script. Script means you are initiating a cross-site scripting, and F5 big IP ASM module is aware enough of all the attack signatures and patterns for all the attacks that could be launched from any attacker. And then inside search, for example, I will try to initiate a cross-site scripting attack. So I will enter the word script. Okay, so let's get back to our logs in our F5 big IP ASM module. Then let's open event logs, application, and requests. So the first one here is a request. This is a normal request. Okay, I will expand this request tab to read all the information for this request. Okay, the first thing, it's inside search.php. What is the triggered violation? The triggered violation is attack signature detected. If you click on this attack signature detection, you will read everything about this attack signature. So you can read the description. The system examined the HTTP message for known attacks by matching it against known attack patterns. Okay, and it's a negative security violation. The severity is error. The attack signature or the attack categories that can be detected include, but are not limited to, cross-site scripting, SQL injection, command execution, server-side injection. All these attack signature categories are hit by this script word. This is the first thing. What is the triggered violation? If you get back to your node here, and I will open my application security or policy building and learning and the blocking settings. We didn't speak about this until now, but I need to show you something. What is the violation? The violation here under attack signature. So this is the violation, attack signature detected. Okay, this is the kind of the violation that you received here. You can see what are the main suggestions inside the learning tab, traffic learning tab here. So if you don't want to go to this tab manually, you can click on this link here. Will give you all the details about the learning suggestions that occurred here directly from this link. So you will find yourself in this tab directly and reviewing the attack or the learning suggestions directly from here. Okay, so let's read about the information for this request. So the first thing is the geolocation. So if you are in a public environment and the user came to you with a public IP, you will find the country that this user initiates the request from. This is the source IP address and the source port the user came with. So my IP address is 192.168.100.40, and it's actually my IP address of this device. This is 100.40. And the device ID, if your F5 big IP ASM can get the device ID, it can show you here. The microservice, the time, the username if it's part of the domain or anything, the session ID, this is the session ID, and it's very important if you need to search for the session ID and the response also. The source IP intelligence, I didn't enable this service here. Then the host, it's your virtual server, which is 192.168.100.62, the public IP here on the Palo Alto. Okay, this is the host IP address to your web application. Then we have the destination IP address. This is your virtual server IP. So this is the host IP, this is the destination IP address, which is 192.168.50.100.80 because it's HTTP traffic. So accept states it's not accepted because it's a violation. The support IP, this is very important because you can work with the support ID. For example, if the client gets a block request, this blocked request will send him the support ID. If you need to search for this request by the support ID, I will show you how to do so from the filters tab. The protocol information is HTTP 1.1. Then the enforcement action is none, simply because it's transparent, enforced by application security policy. So the violation rating is 5. This is very important. And it tells you that the request is mostly like a threat because it's simply an attack signature. So it's a violation rating, it's 5. The response states is legal simply because you are in a transparent mode, and the response will be sent to your user because you are in a transparent mode, means that the traffic will not be blocked. So the request states it's good, and the response is sent to your client. And you see here, I got the response, okay, because I got the result here, but there is no items found, but I got the response. If it's in blocking mode, I will be blocked, and I will see this page is blocked, and I will show you in the upcoming videos. The security policy is action rapid. This is the security policy. The virtual server is action virtual server. The method is get. I need to get some information, so inside the request I used get method, and the response code is 200. I got already the response. Okay, the severity is informational. Okay, so you can read about the decoded request and the original request. Your ASM will do some normalization. Normalization means it will try to decode any encoded data in the request. Okay, you can read about everything here in the request. So for example, this is the host ID. This is the user agent. So the user used this browser, and this is the operating system of the user. And this is the accept language. This is the encoding. This is the referrer. The user open this link through this this URL, which is the main page for our action. This is the session ID inside the cookie. If you are enabling the response logging, you will see the response logging here. Okay, so these are the main components of your request, and these are the main actions that we spoke about. We have delete, export, and accept. If we click on delete, this means this request will be deleted from here. If you click accept, accept means I will accept these suggestions directly here, and then if I try to launch this attack one more time, I will not be able to find any violation if I accept from here. Okay? The second thing that we need to look at is the learning tab. So if I open application security, policy building, traffic learning, from here I can see the learning suggestions for these requests. So these are some evasion technique. This is not our case. We need to see the attack signature detected. We can hide this part here to read about all the information for this learning suggestion. So if you need to read information about this learning suggestion, you have here multiple components also. You have the section for the actions. We have accept action, we have delete, we have ignore, we have export, as we said before. Accept simply means I will accept this suggestion. So what's the suggestion? The suggested action is disable the matched signature on the matched parameter. Means I will disable this matched signature. If the user wants to initiate XSS script, this will not be matched if you accept this suggestion. So normally I will not accept this suggestion. I need to enable the attack signature. Okay? Forget about the matched parameter because we didn't speak about this. But for now, I need to make sure that I can understand the violation through the learning tab and through the request details. So if you click accept, accept means I will accept this learning. We have two main actions: accept suggestion or accept and enable staging or match a parameter. Staging, as we said before, it will be hosted inside the staging period and will not be applied. If you accept the suggestion directly, means the action will be applied to this parameter directly without putting it into the staging. Delete means I will delete this traffic learning notification here, but it can appear again. Ignore, I will ignore it completely so it can't appear again here. Okay, so this is the matched attack signature. If you need to read about it, you can read here, and this is the documentation. This is the last update. You can read about it in the references for the Wikipedia or cgisecurity.com. So again, it will tell you about the number of occurrences that happened for this violation. So one sample request out of 1 triggered the suggestion. This is the time that happened in. Okay, this is the average request violation rating. You will find it's 5 here. Okay, this is the rating of this violation. If you scroll down here, you will find this is the request, and this is here also. This is the place that happened in the search PHP. This is the violation, and you can read about also the requests, decoded requests, and the original request you can see also. And also if you need to see the response, if you enable the logging for the response. Okay, so this is how to read about your learning suggestion, how to accept it, how to accept it here from the requests panel, and how to accept it here from the learning suggestion. So let's take an action here. We received a learning suggestion. We can accept it. If we click on accept, this means it will be accepted directly, and you will see that it's accepted here. And if you initiate the traffic one more time, you will not see here in the learning panel. Okay, and you could accept it from here, but if you accept it from here, you have two main actions: suggestion and enable staging, or accept the suggestion. So let's accept it from here. So I will accept on the requests tab. Okay, so accept, and then I will get back to my event logs. Then I will delete all these requests. Then I will try to initiate the traffic one more time. So I will open my application. Then I will type the same thing. I will enter script, and then I will click go and see if there is a violation happens or not. Okay, so once we initiate another violation and then we go to requests to see the results, we will find that there is a violation occurred, but without any learning suggestions. Why? Because we accepted it previously. And if you open here our learning suggestions, if we go to policy building, then traffic learning, we will find that there are no learning suggestions for this violation, simply because we accepted before through the requests panel. So we don't have any attack signature by the script that we entered.